Good morning and welcome to Factotum Life. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to our channel. We have a wide variety of content. The video that I'm bringing to you today is on our 1986 Yamaha SRV snowmobile. Right now we have the engine on the bench and we're going to attempt to try to remove the stator off of the actual engine. But before we remove the stator, we have to remove the flywheel. And up until this point, this has been an issue. So rather than struggle with the stator inside the engine, we actually remove the engine and put it on the bench. And now hopefully we'll be able to access it and do what we need to do.
I'm getting somewhere, Dad.
Good.
On this bolt. Ooh, this is a big bolt, Dad.
Is that?
What? Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
I repaired my first bolt. Dad.
Did you?
Yep. Would you like to see it? Ooh, this one needs really bad repairs. Quick.
Okay, we're just putting a little valve grinding compound.
Quick. Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
Is this like how you do it manual? Don't they make machines that can do this?
Yeah, you can also clean this up with a die, like a
A special die?
yeah, you would recut everything, and I don't have one that's this large, although maybe I do. I should check. That's a good point.
Because I would like, isn't it getting cleaner?
Seems to be.
That's clean enough for that side. Now let's move on to this other side. And guess what, Dad? It's
What?
10 times harder for you. You know why?
Why?
Because you know why, Dad?
Why?
Because you're working by like you're working on that and having to sit down.
Cool.
As mine, I can just sit here and do this. And what's that?
This is
No,
our nut.
No, this. stuff right there.
Oh, that's just kind of a lubricating.
You have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of lubricants and spray bottles that you never use, really.
Oh, stuff gets used. It just...
Not like the Manila farmer, how he has like a giant collection that gets used almost every day.
Probably.
Imagine owning tractors, how hard that would be to repair them. Right, Dad? Hey, Dad. Do you think I'm good enough to drive your tractor on the field?
Probably.
Because I saw the Manila farmer posted a video a long time ago that I watched that I didn't know of when I posted it.
Okay.
Because I was probably like maybe not around, or he let his son turn. He turned 10 or 11, and he was able to drive. He taught his son how to drive a tractor.
Well, that's cool.
The tractor. And during harvest, he used him as his grain cart driver.
Really?
But he wasn't old enough to drive the combiner. Sadly. Why? Am I right? Yep. Wait, no.
Alright, we got our boogered up threads fixed here, so the nut is going back on the way it should. Hey, can you hold Edison, can you hold the engine so it doesn't turn over?
Sure.
Come over here.
And the engine's very rocky.
Okay, so then we're going to go off one more time. Hold the engine on. All right, we're going to try this again here now on the bench. We got some better angles at it, and hopefully this will pop off, but I'm not too confident in that. Before we get to the next step, one thing I wanted to say and apologize for is, unfortunately, this is the point where the camera, for whatever reason, didn't want to continue recording, and I didn't catch it in time. It would have been decent video just because as I was heating this flywheel, it ended up basically popping off with quite a bang. So that would have been fun to watch again on video. We got we had the flywheel off. Let's get to work. All right, we have our flywheel off. Flywheel or magneto. What is going on here? Looks like I have screwed up the windings with my bolts at some point. I don't think it was today, but it probably was a couple of years ago when I was doing this inside the snowmobile. However, that being said, I was planning on probably replacing anyways. I don't know if I can get these still. I'm going to see if I can find one. That I was having with this snowmobile was that as it warmed up, it would run, it would become very intermittent, which is sort of kind of a hallmark of, you know, maybe one of these windings, the wires have broken and it heats up and expands enough, and then it quits, and then it cools down and it starts working just fine. So that's kind of the direction I'm leaning. I'm going to do something with this because it was such a pain in the butt to get this engine out and get to this point that we're going to do something. And whether that be me buying wire and winding it myself, or finding some type of product out there that I can buy, we're going to figure it out. So that's what we're up to right now.